Welcome to NuwayFinanceAcademy. Today we'll discuss a prediction that's been making waves in the financial world, the possibility of a U.S. recession in 2024, followed by massive interest rate cuts. UBS, a prominent player in global finance, has forecasted this economic downturn, sparking debates and discussions. This prediction centers around two key concepts: recession, which is a significant decline in economic activity, and interest rate cuts, a tool used by central banks like the Federal Reserve to stimulate the economy. So what does this all mean? Stay tuned as we delve into the details of this prediction, its implications, and the factors leading to it. UBS, a leading global financial services company, has surprised many with its bold prediction. The financial behemoth anticipates a significant downturn in the U.S. economy by the middle of 2024, leading to a recession. This bleak outlook is expected to prompt the Federal Reserve to respond with substantial interest rate cuts. UBS foresees the rate sinking to a low of 1.25% in the first half of 2025, a sharp decline that's nearly 4 times the market's expectation. This forecasted rate plunge is seen as a countermeasure to the anticipated recession and the ongoing deceleration of inflation. However, it's worth noting that the U.S. economy has demonstrated considerable resilience so far, with a GDP growth of 4.9% in the third quarter and a relatively low unemployment rate. Interestingly, UBS's prediction stands in stark contrast with another outlook from within its own ranks. The head of asset allocation for the Americas at UBS envisages a roaring 20s scenario. This perspective anticipates a period of high growth, inflation, bond yields, and interest rates, a stark departure from the gloomy forecast of a mid-20s recession. This divergence of views within UBS adds an intriguing layer to the financial forecast. On one hand, we have a prediction of a looming recession, forcing drastic interest rate cuts. On the other, an optimistic outlook of a period reminiscent of the economic boom of the historical Roaring '20s. Only time will tell which of these forecasts will come to fruition. Clearly, there's a divergence of views even within UBS, adding an interesting twist to this prediction. Morgan Stanley, another heavyweight in the finance industry, also foresees a surprise recession in 2024. According to the strategists at Morgan Stanley, a hard landing is expected for the U.S. economy in 2024. This is contrary to the widely held belief of a more manageable soft landing. The reasons behind this bearish outlook are manifold and complex. Morgan Stanley points to the combination of increasing policy restraint globally, the loss of fiscal policy support from the U.S. government, and uncertainty surrounding the U.S. general election. These factors are expected to contribute to a weakening labor market and slowing consumer spending, both of which are key indicators of economic health. In response to this expected downturn, Morgan Stanley predicts that the Federal Reserve will rapidly cut interest rates in 2024. They anticipate 225 basis point rate cuts in March and May, followed by a series of 50 basis point rate cuts throughout the year. This could bring the Fed's rate target as low as 2.25% to 2.5% in 2024 and 1.5% to 1.75% in 2025. Comparatively, UBS's forecast also expects a recession, but with a more drastic response from the Federal Reserve. UBS predicts interest rates will be slashed by 275 basis points next year, nearly 4 times the market's expectation, and plunge to 1.25% in the first half of 2025. It's worth noting that both financial institutions foresee a recession, but their predictions differ in the severity of the downturn and the subsequent response from the Federal Reserve. This highlights the uncertainties and variables inherent in economic forecasting. So it seems the consensus among these financial giants is a looming recession, but the severity and the aftermath are points of contention. Adding to the mix of predictions is RBC Global Asset Management's outlook. RBC Global Asset Management has a somewhat different take on the 2024 economic forecast. They're pointing to a 70% chance of a recession hitting the U.S. economy in 2024. A stark forecast indeed, but not an unfounded one. RBC cites several reasons for this prediction. First off, the Federal Reserve's planned interest rate hikes. These hikes, necessary as they may be to control inflation, could potentially dampen economic activity and tip the balance towards a recession. Secondly, RBC points to what it perceives as souring economic data. This includes signs of an inverted yield curve, which historically has been a reliable predictor of recessions. Next, they note tightened financial conditions. With less money flowing through the economy, businesses and consumers might pull back on spending, slowing down the economy. Lastly, RBC points to the late stage of the business cycle. The economy, they argue, is operating beyond a sustainable level. Central banks, including the Federal Reserve, are focused on cooling inflation, which could inadvertently push the economy into a recession. But before you panic, RBC expects this potential recession to be mild and short, with fewer job losses than usual. That's a small consolation, but still, it signals that the impact on businesses, households, and financial markets would be significant. Comparing this to UBS's and Morgan Stanley's predictions, we see some common threads. All three financial giants agree on the likelihood of a recession and the expected role of the Federal Reserve in managing it. However, the degree to which they foresee the Federal Reserve cutting interest rates varies. Despite the varying viewpoints, one thing is clear: the finance world is bracing for some significant changes. You might be wondering, what does all this mean for the average person? Well, the potential recession and the subsequent massive interest rate cuts could have a profound impact on your daily life, especially when it comes to your financial planning. Let's break this down. First up, let's talk about Social Security. If a recession hits, there are likely to be changes to the system. For instance, the top benefit could approach $5,000 a month, and there might be higher taxes for some. This could affect you depending on your income and your retirement plans. Next, let's move on to retirement accounts. Workers will likely be able to contribute more to their retirement accounts in 2024. Some rules on emergency withdrawals could also be relaxed. This means you might have more flexibility when it comes to your retirement savings. Now let's consider the job market. During a recession, the job market typically weakens. This could mean fewer job opportunities and slower wage growth. If you're thinking about changing jobs or looking for a raise, this is something to keep in mind. On a positive note, if the Federal Reserve does cut interest rates significantly, this could be good news for borrowers. Lower interest rates mean cheaper loans, which could be beneficial if you're planning to buy a house or a car, or if you have student loans. However, it's not all good news for everyone. For savers, lower interest rates mean your savings won't grow as quickly. This could affect your long-term financial goals. In conclusion, while these forecasts might sound daunting, it's important to remember that they're just predictions. They might not come true. But it's always wise to stay informed about potential economic shifts. This way, you can make the best decisions for your financial future. The key takeaway here is to stay informed and be prepared for potential economic shifts. Thank you for tuning in to Newway Finance Academy. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, give this video a thumbs up, and ring that notification bell for more insightful content. Remember, knowledge is power in the financial world. Stay financially savvy, and we'll see you in the next video. Take care.